The Federal Reserve just crushed gold prices. In January, gold prices hit all-time high of $5,600 an ounce. But right now, they're standing at around $4,000. That's almost a 30% collapse in just 6 months. One of the fastest gold crashes in modern history. Now people are blaming the war, profit-taking, or some mysterious market manipulation. And I know that saying that the Fed crushed the market seems like oversimplification, but if you actually dig deep into the numbers, you will find out that the entire crash comes back to one single number that the Federal Reserve controls. So here in this video, I'm gonna walk you through why gold prices have exploded in the first place, the exact mechanics that's crushing the prices now, and the one thing that determines whether gold prices will start rising again or they will continue falling down. To understand the crash, you first have to understand the rally. Any gold rally starts with one simple fact, that gold prices are priced in US dollars. If you want to buy gold anywhere in the world, you effectively have to buy first US dollars. Why? Because the last gold standard was established by the United States. And even though that the United States has abandoned the gold standard back in 1971, the United States still sits on the largest gold reserves in the world. Not a single country will even come close. So the dollar and the gold are chained together. Here's what it means in practice. Every single time the US dollar weakens, every other currency in the world becomes stronger. And when your currency strengthened against the US dollars, suddenly you can afford a lot more US dollars, which means that you can now afford a lot more gold. So a weak dollar automatically pumps the demand for gold. And that's exactly what happened last year. The dollar index dropped 9.4% just in the first half of the year alone. It had its worst run since 1973. Why? Because the Federal Reserve started cutting interest rate and the President of the United States started launching tariffs war against every other nation. A weak dollar basically became the official policy of the US government. And you don't have to take my word on this. Just zoom out and look at the historical patterns of how gold prices reacted. After the 2008 financial crisis, when the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates to the bare minimum, gold prices started rising. In 2020, 2021, the exact same thing happened. The Fed lowers down interest rates, massive printing money, a weak dollar, and gold prices are rising. And the moment the market realized that all of that printing money is causing massive inflation, the Fed instantly hiked the rates. Weak dollar, a stronger gold. Central banks alone bought more than 1,200 tons of gold last year alone. That's a third year in a row above 1,000 tons, roughly double the average of the previous decade. China, India, and Turkey accounted for 42% of it. And why are they buying so much gold? Because we're moving into a multipolar world where countries don't want their reserves to be frozen, sanctioned, or devalued by someone else's government. So you had a weak dollar and central banks massively buying gold, which pushed gold prices to above $5,600 at its peak. Everyone rushed to buy. Then it crashed 28%. And investors do the same thing with stocks every single day. That's why I use InvestingPro from investing.com. It saves me hours of digging through financial statements and data. The first thing I check is fair value. It blends multiple valuation models into one simple number, so I can see if a stock is cheap, fair, or overpriced. Take Apple for example. InvestingPro shows that it is trading 18.6% above its fair value, with the current price being $325 when the fair price for it is $265.27. Then I check the financial health sector to see if the business is actually strong. For fresh ideas, they have ProPicks AI, specifically tech titans that chooses 15 high conviction stocks monthly that has returns almost twice the S&P 500. Investing.com is running its biggest summer sale, up to 60% off, plus my code for extra 15%. It's ending in just a few days, so don't wait. Link is below. Here's the thing that most people don't realize when gold prices are rising. Gold is not paying you anything. There is no interest, no dividend, nothing. You're purely betting on the price of gold that keeps rising. US Treasuries on the other side pay you a yield, a money that you can actually receive and use. So gold and the US Treasuries are competing for the exact same money. The winner at the end of the day comes down to one simple truth: how much the US Treasuries are paying after the real inflation. When yields are low, gold prices rise. because you're not giving up anything for holding it. But when the yields starts to spike, the math instantly flips. Look at the 10-year treasuries. In March, they dropped below 4%, but right now they're trading at 4.55%. And at one point, they even crossed 4.62%. The short treasuries are telling you the exact same story. 6-month treasuries were yielding at about 3.6% back in December. At the latest auction, they crossed 4%. Now, here's the detail that most people completely miss. The 6-month treasuries are paying you far more than the Fed's interest rate. Think about that for a moment. The bond market isn't actually waiting for the Fed to raise the interest rates. It's already betting on the rate hikes that haven't happened yet. But why does the Fed's rate matter so much for the treasury rates? The Federal Reserve sets the floor for the entire system. Think about it from the bank's perspective. A bank has two options. Either it's going to park its money at the Federal Reserve and generate the interest rate that's set by the Fed, or it would take that money and buy the US Treasuries and earn an interest. The bank is obviously going to choose whoever pays the most. So the government has to outbid the Fed. So when the Fed holds the interest rates or it threatens to raise them, the floor instantly rises and the government starts offering a higher treasury yield. Every yield in the system suddenly rises, and suddenly an asset that pays you absolutely 0% in yield seems like a terrible investment compared to a US Treasury that pays you 4%. That's the mechanics of how it works, and that's why gold prices have been crashing lately. But this raises a very interesting question. Why suddenly the Federal Reserve is talking about raising the interest rates anyways? One word: inflation. But this inflation is not normal. There is a shortage of energy that is caused by the war in the Middle East. Since the war has broke out, Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz, where 25% of the maritime oil passes and 20% of liquefied natural gas. This is by far the largest disruptions of oil prices in history. Just to give you a perspective, it's even bigger than 1970s that caused like 14% inflation rate. What do we have at the end of the day? Oil prices went from $70 to as high as $120 by April. That is literally a 70% increase in oil prices in such a short period of time. And that instantly increases the prices of everything: manufacturing, shipping, you name it. And honestly, it could have been far worse than that. First of all, China. China cut its oil imports almost by half, from 11 million barrels to as low as 6 million barrels a day. Instead, they drew roughly 41 million barrels a month from their strategic oil reserves that are the largest reserves in the world at about 1.3 billion barrels. Secondly, the US released its strategic oil reserves, the largest in history. The European Union did the same thing, and multiple other countries across the globe to prevent oil prices to cross $200. And when two nations signed the Memorandum of Understanding, the strait was open for a while and oil prices dropped back to $70. But that came at a huge price because the US used 60% of its strategic oil reserves. Right now, they're sitting at their lowest capacity since 1983. And refilling them is going to take years, probably up until 2030. So that cushion is gone. If there is going to be another oil shock, it is going to be significantly worse. Now inflation is cooling. It has gone down from 4.2% in the previous month to 3.5% in the last month. But 3.5% is still far above Fed's target of 2%. And here's the part that actually crushed gold prices. In the last meeting, the chairman of the Fed signaled that there is a probability that we might end up raising the interest rates by the end of the year if inflation is not going to cool down. So markets right now are giving it a 25% chance that by the end of the year, the Fed will hike the rates. Think about what that means for gold prices after I have explained to you the mechanics of how gold prices work. The Fed raises the floor, the government has to offer a much higher interest rates to attract buyers, and then you have an asset that is called gold on the other side that pays you literally 0%. And the whole problem is that this is a supply-driven inflation. The Fed can't drill oil wells, or it can't force Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. So nobody at this point, not even the Fed itself, can know for a fact whether it's going to raise the interest rates by the end of the year or not, because nobody knows for a fact how this war is going to continue. Here is another force that is crushing gold prices that nobody's talking about: the sheer number of the US debt that is being flooded into the market. Out of $32 trillion of marketable profitable US debt. About $6.7 trillion or 21% is short-term debt that continuously matures. But there is a bigger number. Almost $10 trillion of the entire debt will be maturing within the next year. Now, think about what does that mean for gold. Every single time one of these bills is going to mature, the US government has to replace it with a new bill that pays the current interest rate. Let's say that you held a US Treasury 6 months ago that used to pay 3.6% yields. Now it matures today, and now the government has to offer you a 4%. So month after month, billions of dollars of fresh, safe haven, high-yield bonds are hitting the market. Investors are looking at all of this and they have an option. I can dump all of my money in these ultra-safe assets that pays me 4% or buy gold that pays me 0%. The choice is obvious. Sell your gold and start buying the US Treasuries. And the irony is that the government can't stop this machine even if it wanted so, because it's trapped. The interest payments last year have crossed $1 trillion. That's roughly around $3 billion a day. So to afford those interest payments, the government has to continuously issue short-term debt in order to pay its previous debts. And to get investors to absorb all of these US Treasuries, the US government has to keep offering higher yields to attract them. It's like a doom loop that keeps US Treasury yields high, that keeps pressuring gold. And you can see exactly where the money is going. If you look at the accounts, you will realize that corporations and investors are sitting at more than $8 trillion of US Treasuries. They won't be buying gold because there is a safe investment that is paying them literally 4% yields. And for some reason, you decide that you want to actually buy gold. First of all, you have to pay for a place to store so much gold. Secondly, you have to pay insurance. And thirdly, it's not going to pay you anything. It's not a hard decision to make if you're a huge corporation or a huge investor. And now finally, here's the reason why that crash has been so brutal. When gold prices began rising, investors, even large investors such as ETFs, weren't just buying this gold using their own money, but rather they have leveraged their position. So how does that work? Let's say that we have a 2-to-1 leverage ratio. With $500, you can buy $1,000 worth of gold. With $1,000, you can buy $2,000 worth of gold. On the way up, obviously, it is going to amplify that and gold prices will rise faster than they suppose. Because every dollar that is being invested in gold turns into $2. But leverage cuts both ways. When prices starts falling down, a $500 position does not simply wipes out $500 worth of demand, but rather $1,000 worth of demand. Multiply that across thousands of positions, across thousands of investors, and suddenly you will have so many investors getting margin calls, and they will start selling their investments or even the gold itself in order just to close their accounts and get out of these positions. Of course, leverage positions in gold are not as insane as it's in crypto, but it's still absolutely there, and that's why a small crash turned into a huge crash. Now here's the question, what happens next? Where gold is going to go from here? It all comes down to one single decision. The Fed's decision by the end of the year, and that decision depends on the war. In the first scenario, there is going to be another ceasefire. So they will stop fighting, the Strait of Hormuz will be open, all of that energy will start flooding into the market, oil prices will cool down, inflation in the US is going to cool down, and the Fed will have an option to lower interest rates by the end of the year. Treasuries will start offering much lower yields, the dollar is going to become weaker, and the US Treasuries are no longer as attractive as they have been. So investors and central banks will go back to buying a lot of gold, and gold prices will rally again. The second scenario is the war is going to escalate, energy inflation is going to come back, and by the end of the year, the Fed will have to hike the interest rates maybe multiple times. The US Treasuries will offer a much higher yields, which means that investors will start buying them, and gold is going to crash much farther. And that's the whole game, not a mystery, not market manipulation, just a number that the Fed controls, and it's hostage right now by the war in the Middle East. Watch the Fed and watch the Strait of Hormuz. Everything else is noise.